We're back at Veterans Claims Ambush. I'm going through IG reports. The one we're going to talk about today, you have to revisit something I brought up in the first video. This is my breakdown of different weird characters that you meet in life. They come in all shapes, sizes, etc. One of the ones that I want you to understand is when it comes to the sociopath, they are always on the prowl for rewards. They're not going to beat you up to steal your wallet, but they're looking for rewards. They will react. If you corner one physically, they will react physically. If you corner one intellectually, they will react intellectually. They have a high potential for complex criminal conduct. They can be intelligent, well-spoken. They don't understand morality or a condition of modern life called a conscience or a sense of guilt. They're not unintelligent. They can understand that there is this thing called morality, etc., but they are always on the prowl for rewards, and so appetite, if you will, overcomes any immediate sense of morality. All right? They can engage in complex criminal conduct. These are the people that embezzle lightweight stuff from a bank where they work or things like that. Okay. I'm reminding you of that because we're going to be talking about something today that is quite fascinating. So let's move forward in the lecture. We're going to be talking about a report from OIG. Here is the report number. You can get it on their website. Download the report. Okay, claims. I showed you in the last video that they were stacking up appeals in cabinets, bins. They just didn't bother with them. Meanwhile, veterans are personally on the hook, being chased for money. I gave you the example of a woman who's a veteran, heart condition, service-connected, no doubt. It's a bad situation. Many years later, she has a massive heart attack, taken to a civilian hospital. The bill is $200,000. VA is supposed to pay it. And what happens? How they work. If you haven't seen that video, it's the prior one. Go back and look at it. Short break. So we have moved on to the summary page of this IG report. Now, this is going to take your breath away. If you have not seen the earlier videos, please go back and look at them. It leads up to things like this. And that's why I gave you the breakdown of the three oddball characters that you meet in life. In response to a congressional request, no, it was a congressional demand that VA explain something. The VA Office of Inspector General conducted this audit. It's not an audit. I've explained that. These are internal employees of the VA looking at the VA. Jimmy Carter created the Inspector General routine at federal agencies. You can guess what evolved over time. These are VA employees. You are not going to see names. Okay? You are not going to see specifics in this audit. I've told you I've written about audits. My book on auditing, Wall Street Journal, Accounting Today, FDIC recommendations. This is not an audit. Auditing has strict standards for independent companies, CPA firms, hired to be auditors, and management stands back and does not possibly interfere. And true audit reports are absolutely independent. There are internal auditors that are used to catch things sometimes on an ongoing basis, especially in financial institutions. But a true audit is an independent firm that gives an independent review of a topic. So I don't consider this an audit. So Congress says, what? Whether processors of non-VA emergency care claims inappropriately denied or rejected claims. Congress is hearing about this. And if so, whether the cause was pressure to meet production standards. I want to stop and I want you to understand something. VA employees can be paid a bonus, and it doesn't matter whether it's VHA or it's VBA. They get paid a bonus on what? Piecework. It's somewhat comparable to an Apple telephone factory in China. You get paid for what you do. You do not get paid for time at the bench, time in the office per se. You get paid for piecework. That's where your bonus comes from. And as everyone knows, a salary is basically a sustenance, but bonus is really a living. Okay. And those bonuses are often pre-spent. You know that. That's how Disneyland operates. That's how BMW exists. Okay. So what are we looking at? First, short break. Was the cause of the denials pressure to meet production standards? Production standards. This is the factory turning out things. This is an assembly line. Why did they use production standards? Why not case resolution standards? Do you see how they slipped up? Production standards. It's not about individuals. I told you that in the first video. I told you they look at you. Mathematical matrix. You are a statistic. That's all you are. Production standards. So OIG conducted an accuracy review of claims, because Congress demanded it, for emergency medical care obtained outside VA for service-connected disabilities. This is not paper cuts. This is big stuff. And found that 31% of denied or rejected non-VA emergency care claims with an estimated billed amount of $716 million were inappropriately processed from April 1 through September 30, 2017. $716 million personal liability of the veteran. Remember my example. The lady has a service-connected heart condition, no question, serious. She has a heart attack 20 years later. The bill is $200,000. Congress has passed a law to cover this. They have funded the VA. They've done everything right, and the VA gets this and did what? They stored stuff in bins and lockers and file cabinets and production standards. Watch these numbers. So we got April. Let's use our inherent calculator. April, May, June, July, August. Whoop, we got one more. September. That's it for 2017. Creating the risk of undue financial burden to an estimated 60,800 veterans. 60,800 veterans. If Congress had not demanded this, they would all be anonymous production standards. The review revealed that some of those denied and rejected claims should have been approved. The OIG estimated from its sample that about 17,400 veterans, with related bills totaling about, only 53.3 million, were negatively affected. But you see, the remaining processing errors still created a risk that the claimants did not receive complete and accurate information regarding why their claim was not approved. Why bother telling them? And therefore could not effectively respond with necessary. Remember I told you about papers, necessary. Remember that word on the claim form? Necessary. Information to obtain claim approval and payment. The OIG concluded there was a significant risk that some of the errors identified in this audit, it's not an audit, resulted from pressure to meet production targets. Take out the word production. Put in the word bonus. Every VARO, and I went over what that is in a prior video, is marked based on quantitative measures of productivity. How many pieces of work did you do? How many telephone calls? How many letters did you get and file? And then that is compiled and shown to Congress. Okay, I had a short break, another break. Okay, I'm back. Production targets. It's bad enough that it's only production. Do you understand the concept of targets? You must do this number of things today. Or what? You will be punished. How will you be punished? You won't get your bonus. Production targets. Insufficient quality assurance of claims, processing accuracy, and incentives associated with meeting production targets. That's a bonus. Production targets, incentives associated with meeting production targets. Look at the number of veterans, the numbers of dollars involved, and look where the idea came from to do this examination from Congress. It didn't come from the VA. Now, there's a logical conclusion you can come to when an outside force, here, Congress, forces an entity to examine itself. I showed you in the prior videos OIG on one anonymous complaint to OIG about Little Rock Regional Office. Wrote up a whole report. And you could say, well, how was upper management or the IG supposed to know about one employee in one regional office? Do you understand, with the gravity of this situation, there is a question. How was this missed? Why did Congress have to come along and demand? Why are they talking about now production targets and incentives, the bonus? Oh, it gets worse than this. But that's where you are in filing a claim. You are a target. It's a mathematical matrix. That's all it is. And the incentive is based on moving you through the system as fast as possible. And they don't even have to look at your stuff. Okay, so there were 11 recommendations. I'll come back in a second, short break. This is wonderful. I can take a break, and it seems like a second or less on the video, but it is longer. Okay. So, what they're saying is they're going to tie incentives to all performance standards rather than just production quantity. They're going to reevaluate inappropriately processed claims and improve internal and external communication about claim status. No, they're not. There's still incentives for the mathematical model. They write to you anonymously if they write at all. Now, I want to give you a comparison of how to fix this situation. It's easy. I have told you about using the VA hospital in Washington, D.C. I think it is absolutely first rate. Saved my life 3 times, etc. Every interview, procedure, pill, surgery, every contact that I have with the people at the VA hospital is recorded and documented in my medical files there. I can access them on a VA website known as My Healthy Vet. It is a portal type system that compares to that used by medical practitioners all through society. Every pill, every procedure, every appointment, every discussion, I get to send them emails effectively on a secure messaging system. They can come back to me on the same secure messaging system. It's wonderful. I can go back and print out everything. My medical record is probably well over 500 pages since 2014. And it's right there. I can see it anytime from any device. So let's use that as a model for a second. Why not use that model here? If you want to improve internal and external communications about claim status, there is a model used by the VA at the hospitals. If you go on va.gov, which is the attempt by the VA to give information about claims, good luck. In my experience, it is a disaster. But that's my experience. The model on My Healthy Vet is wonderful. It compares to the best civilian hospital models. Why doesn't the claim system include the same standard as My Healthy Vet? Why isn't it open to direct inspection of the veteran? And I will tell you why. Because your stuff is being stored in lockers, bins, filing cabinets. if you send in papers. And when they put it on digital, let's say you filed a claim. Remember I told you that you can find on Google peer-reviewed medical literature, and you may have 150 pages of medical records. So you've got 150 pages of medical research from peer-reviewed articles. You have 150 pages of medical records, and then you've got 50 pages of statements from other people and or from other servers. This is people that provide you with, as an example, prosthetic devices and so forth. But then you've got to give your own narrative, and it may go on for pages. How many pages have I just described? Well, it's about 350. Some of these claims go to 500. Do you think anybody at VA BA is going to read that? I've told you. If you put in serious medical research, exactly who at VA can read it? They're not going to give it over to the veterans' hospitals. They have the ability from Congress to send it off to a medical school, but good Lord, that takes action going out and action coming in. And what if the medical school says, we'd like to see this person, or we'd like to talk to them, or we'd like, oh my goodness, think of all that work. And after all, productivity over accuracy. This hasn't changed, okay? Productivity over accuracy. Production standards. And that's why on the claims side, it doesn't matter whether it's for emergency medical care, for a serious service-connected condition. It doesn't matter if it's VA claims. Do you understand what this is about? This was shown to Congress that said, oh, we solved it. We said better training. That solves everything. Why wasn't, and let's take a look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. This is a Super Bowl ticket buying crowd worth of numbers. Imagine if they all shouted at one time. Look at this. They admit this many. Well, what would happen with a real audit that came in, outside firm, independent? What would happen to management? What happened to all these vets that were chased by collection agencies? Why wasn't management fired? Next video coming up. I'm not your lawyer. I'm pleading with you to get your own lawyer. I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm taking you through actual documents that talk about who they are, how they operate, within the claims areas that you will be dealing with or that you've already dealt with. Okay? It's about production on their side. They don't see you. Next video coming up.